Welcome to the quietest ones in the room with your host, Trey. Man, I was debating whether or not I should even do a recording because I was like, I don't even know if I have anything to necessarily say. Um, but man, there is so much going on. And I think I had that feeling of, I don't know if I have anything to say because honestly, I don't like trying to force a conversation. I do like to at least take my time, plan out something that I'd like to discuss, and bring something that I think I've learned and that I would like to express to you. And so I was feeling a little like, hey, I really don't know what I'm talk about. But I received a clip from someone that I know, and it actually energized me. And I walked away from watching this clip thinking to myself, how ignorant and dumb some people actually are. I mean, the concept of being as dumb as a brick is a real thing. And what makes me realize this is how many people will spend their time not reading, truly not educating themselves on any particular topic. It's just enough for them to digest social media and that be the message that they believe and that they want to share in their orbit, in their small world amongst their echo chamber of additional idiots amongst them. They want to share things that are actually not true or things that actually cause division. And, sometimes I look at it and I say to myself, are we at that point where people should just literally get in the streets and do duels? Remember back in the day when you'd have your pistol, they'd have their pistol, and you'd be back to back and you'd have to walk your paces and then you would turn around and shoot. Like, aren't we kind of there now where it's like, does it make sense to bring something like that back? Because people really don't understand at times how disrespectful they're being with their laziness in terms of their intellectual laziness and how they want to share information with you and disinformation and misinformation publicly with people. And I understand that we often um, can, as humans, and do as humans, make mistakes, sometimes unintentionally. But I observe so many people as individuals who intentionally do dumb things and say dumb things and share dumb information. Do you often feel that way? I cannot be alone in this matter because ultimately, I think that we're all seeing an uptick in the reality that no one even cares about what the truth is. They only care about if their side is the winner, if their side is willing to do whatever it takes to win, right? But sometimes it's even worse when, you're dealing with people and it's really in the politics realm. Like me personally, I love talking about politics. My emotions don't get into it. I really do look at politics like, um, basics one, two, three. It's really not an emotional endeavor for me. I can talk about politics all day and not get frustrated. But I know that there are some people that when you begin to discuss politics, they really do get emotional about it. And to me, those are dangerous people. And I like to, for the most part, stay away from engaging with those individuals unless I have decided that what they are displaying in terms of what they are sharing is dangerous and misleading. I must address those things. And this comes down to some people, this comes down to some of the individuals that I know in my personal life. And I'm like, oh my God, you're middle class or upper middle class. And you act as if your life is in shambles. You act as if you're living in the ghetto and you don't know how you're gonna pay your next bill eat your next meal. It's like you're going to figure it out because you've been figuring it out. And oftentimes, I do feel like there are people who have, through their successes, they've gotten trapped in this mindset of trying to act as if they are concerned and care about things that is clearly obvious they don't give a shit about. They act like they care about the homeless. They act like they care about what's going on in other countries and the devastation. They act like they care about what was going on in LA with the fire. They act like they cared about, if Trump won and how it was going to disenfranchise a group of immigrants and how it was going to disenfranchise a certain ethnic or racial group. And it's like, you people really don't give a shit. You really don't. And so it's like, if, we go back, to 2024, and we remember as individuals how divisive it was. It was pandemonium. It was, are we in the end of time last year? And coming into 2025, it damn sure feels like it's the end of times with the way that people behave. So I'm like, do we really want to get back to the point where, we're doing duels? We're pulling our pistols back to back, thinking to ourselves, either it's them or me. It's not about coming to each other in the spirit of having an honest debate. No, those days are gone. And what's interesting to me is one of my biggest pet peeves right now with dealing with when I'm dealing with individuals. It's, I could come into the room, and I don't know if you experience this. You can come into a room. It could be a chat. It could be a Zoom. It could be any setting where you are talking to people about something that is taking place. You could come into the room and you could say, you know what, man, cats are all across America are running rampant. They're killing all the mice. They're tormenting children all over the country. And somebody will say, oh, what about those dogs? We're not talking about dogs right now. We are talking about cats. People like to interject things, specifically, it happens so much today. People like to interject, throw in grenades of topics that have nothing to do with the hell you're talking about. And it's a very frustrating process in dealing with this modern, spoiled human being who can DoorDash itself to death, who can Uber Eats itself to death. It's like, what happened to common sense? What happened to a level of camaraderie and conversation and an appreciation for oneself to do their due diligence to understand the topic that they are going to present, or take the time to educate themselves on the topic that another person is presenting, and just talking about that before they start talking about a whole bunch of shit that doesn't matter, that has nothing to do with the conversation at all. It's the corniest behavior. And so I see too many people doing that now, and it's upsetting to me. And so I know that I'm not alone. I'm certain that you have experienced this. And the best thing that I have decided in terms of how you deal with individuals that bring up unnecessary, irrelevant points within a conversation that you're trying to have is to completely ignore them. Do not engage with the information and the irrelevant content, etc., that they are trying to interject into the conversation. Ignore it. Stay focused, get your point across, and exit the conversation if said person, said people do not desire to engage with that which you brought up. You don't want to waste your time. I know I don't want to waste my time. So it's something that I've been noticing, and with all the things going on in the world right now, um, you know, it's almost like people have taken the concept of social media, like when you're on social media and it's like a timeline, right? And you're scrolling through the timeline, and it can go from you seeing a meme of a cat to you seeing an IG model, to you seeing an ad for a vehicle, to you seeing feed the kids in Africa, from you seeing Elon Musk saying saying hail Hitler. And psychologically, it's like those are so many things that have nothing to do with the next feed on a timeline. It's almost like some people have adopted this way of thinking. It's like they've taken that social media mindset and now that's how they have conversations. So I could be discussing, hey man, it's kind of wild, like how much it snowed here in the Raleigh area. Oh yeah, man. What about LA and the fires? Okay, yeah. What about it? Yeah, man. Those LA fires are crazy. Oh man, what about this, that, and the third? Okay, I understand. Like, I don't have time to talk about all this. I was talking about the weather in North Carolina. Why am I now in space? Why am I now in deep space? Deep Space Nine. Why am I now in Star Trek? I've decided, you know what, enough for me. I'm not going to engage that way. I'm going to talk about the things that I want to talk about. And if something that I'm discussing if there's an attempt to divert what I'm discussing, I will disengage from the conversation because it serves me, because I can tell that those people are trying to serve themselves. So I'm going to serve myself and understanding that I'm not going to engage with silly conversations. You definitely get to that point in your life where you realize how important it is to preserve your words and have conversations about things that actually add value to your life and hopefully add value to someone else's life. But this back and forth of silly conversation about, the bullshit he said, she said, the almost shade room type discussions, TMZ stuff. It's just annoying. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at with it mentally. Um, I don't care to engage with that type of stuff anymore. Those type of people, like I'll back off. I'll back off. I'll hide. Like I'll see you reaching out to me, and I won't engage with you. I'll hide from you. You know. But anyway, um, what about this? So I know everyone's been talking about um this connection between Elon Musk and this guy. You probably heard of him. His name was Hitler. Um, he like was this guy um, some time ago who led like this political party um, in Germany, and they um, committed atrocities and killed lots of people. Um, So yeah, there's been discussions about maybe some alignment of Elon Musk with this group of individuals who try to dominate the world at one point. Who in some way somehow they still are trying to dominate the world, and he was pledging allegiance to that group of people who they're around still causing torment all over the earth, and he's trying to like bring that back into the world and specifically here in America. And he's talked to the Germans recently, and he told them forget about the past because somehow, some way, that's that's how you corral a group of Nazis to come and take a hold of what was theirs already because they rule the world or something like that. You see what I just did there? Like, yeah, that type of talk. Um, you know, people are talking about some of the silliest things, and in talking about these things, they miss the things that really will affect their day to day. Um, in my timeline, in group settings, I'm hearing things about, is this person a Nazi? Is that person a Nazi? Are the Nazis coming to kick down your door? Are the Nazis actually controlling ICE? Are the Nazis actually in Mexico trying to have they been coming into America through the border? You know what? Are the Nazis actually running North Korea, Iran? Like, is that what the play is? Like, you see how conspiratorial that is? It's like all this Nazi talk, you know? And I cannot see why anybody thinks that any of this stuff is relevant without, I can't understand why anybody thinks this stuff is relevant. But I do understand that there are a lot of crazy people, a lot of people who actually do not want to spend time thinking about their personal lives and maybe how they could be a better mother, a better father, a better sister, a better brother, a better son, a better daughter, just overall better in their families, better in their communities. They would rather focus on something that they can't prove at all. Is that fun at times? Of course it's fun, but we can't take ourselves so seriously all the time that we actually believe some of these things that are legitimately crazy and things that we are actually misinformed about and take them as law and act as if we are in jeopardy of our lives drastically changing because of this bullshit that we believe because we saw it on TMZ, because we saw it on CNN, because we saw it on Fox News, because we saw it on social media. So, with that being said, like I said, I wasn't even going to come on here and say much of anything, but I couldn't help myself because it's a very frustrating thing to hear so much of this nonsense. And so it gave me a little bit of energy to come to you and talk to you for just a second. But once again, hopefully this is something that, if anything, I hope that when you listen to this, that the golden nugget that I've received over the last week is when you have a focus, when you have an agenda, when you're on a mission, do not let the enemy, the devil, and his demons deter you from that. You stay focused. You understand what mission you're on. You understand what communication you need to have. what you need to communicate about. You understand this. You understand how important this thing is that you're focused on is. And therefore, don't let anything deter you. And oftentimes, it's the devil's in the details. It's in you having a conversation and someone throwing you off because of what they said, what they thought, what their opinions were. And so I would advise to anyone, cast those demons out of your life. Do not allow those demons to speak in your presence and deter you from the mission. So stay focused. You know why you do it. Thank you for listening to the quietest ones in the room. And until next time,